Sling TV has something for everyone. It really just depends on what kind of mood you're in. But no matter what you're looking for, you can watch it with Sling. Sports, news, and today's hottest shows. Plus, you can explore thousands of movies and TV shows on demand. And getting Sling is easy. Sign up and start watching in just 5 minutes. Stream on any device and record up to 50 hours with your included DVR space. Plus, you won't get locked into a long-term contract. Check out sling.com for special offers. Sling, the TV you love for a price you'll love. Try it today. Welcome to the Andy Staples Show presented by Sling. Happy National Signing Day if you were listening to the podcast. Happy National Signing Day Eve if you were joining us on the YouTube stream as we record this live. It is, it's about that time. Actually, as we record this at 8:36 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday night, somebody has already signed. Oregon signed an Australian punter already because it's already 7 a.m. in Australia.
So can I ask you guys something? Because I don't know the answer to this question. Is the right way to refer to Wednesday National Signing Day?
I mean, it kind of is. If you would like to refer to the first Wednesday in February as National Signing Day, you could, but
I just didn't know like,
when most people are signing.
If it was proper to like write it in the story, like this is National Signing Day, because I don't think it actually is.
It is actually National Signing Day. National Signing Day is when most of the high school players who are going to sign, which is tomorrow.
Okay.
Today.
All right. So I'm going to write it tomorrow, and if it's wrong, then I'm gonna forward them to you.
Who's going to tell you you're wrong?
I don't know.
Stupid
Have you
people?
been on my comments lately?
Only idiots would tell you you're wrong about this because tomorrow is National Signing Day. So
I just didn't know if I was an idiot because that's something I'm supposed to know. But you know, we're going to take.
There are a lot of things you're supposed to know, Ari. So we're here with Grace Rayner, who, in addition to all of the amazing stuff she's been doing at The Athletic, has added a lot of recruiting coverage over the last few months. Some incredible stories, including one of my favorites. Grace, we got to talk about this one before we get into what's going to happen in the next 24 hours or so. You had just an amazing story, I want to say about a week and a half ago, about the highly sought after recruits and what happens when they have to call coaches and tell them no.
Yes. The hard part, right? The part that no one thinks about.
It's the worst.
Yeah. Totally.
But so the one guy, the offensive lineman who's going to Alabama, he called he had a spreadsheet of people to call.
Yes, he did. That was the most impressive part to me. Olau Salinen, who is signing with Alabama. Also, he's in Finland, so he might be our next official signing.
He's doing middle of the night. Yeah.
What time is it in Finland?
I'll find out.
It's after midnight.
Yeah. What time? What time is it in?
What time is it in Helsinki? I'm
in
Googling
Helsinki,
it right
that's where
now.
he's
That's a
from.
hell of a phone bill for that guy, huh?
We FaceTimed. No biggie.
It is 3:39 a.m. currently in Helsinki. He can
3:39.
Yes, he can.
Didn't
he
know
can sign in
Helsinki
3
was in
hours and
Finland
21
right now,
minutes.
by the way.
That's amazing. Okay, so he'll be number 2, right? Presumably.
Oh, if he wakes up on time, he might sleep through his alarm. But somebody who has a spreadsheet to call coaches to let them
Yeah, he
down
ain't sleeping through his alarm.
isn't sleeping
Right?
through his alarm.
No.
But like
No,
my thing is like I wish you would have quoted me on that, Grace, because I had a long list, like an Excel spreadsheet, right after college for all the girls who wanted to like marry me, and I had to like call them all.
I'm sorry. I'm saving myself for a woman I'm going to meet in like 10 years. Don't worry.
But the trick is to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. Don't let them down easy. Just be honest, be frank. And it worked for me.
I'm really proud of you, Ari. I was wondering where you were going with this. I was like, are we talking about a sport or a gender? A sport. Or a gender in your case. Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was impressive because most of the kids called, they're finalists, their top 5 are the ones that they officially visited. And Olaus literally called, I think he said at least 30. So he got very good at this. But he had said, his recruitment was coast to coast and he was really open to everyone and felt like that's what he needed to do to be respectful.
Continent to continent, really.
I know, seriously. But yeah, that one was, I thought, really fascinating.
So this is a different national signing. And I know the rules were the same last year, but it feels like things have evolved now. And so the question I have, the one I'm trying to figure out, when we sit down and we'll be on a special episode of Stars Matter tomorrow, me and Ari and Mitch Light, when we do that, will the biggest story we talk about be about a high school player or about a transfer?
Are we at that stage yet now where National Signing Day and Portal are just condensed into one thing?
Well, they are one thing. It's like when we visited Oxford, Ari, and we talked about this stuff with Lane Kiffin. He just said it's roster management, and that's exactly what it is.
So like me, Grace, and Max Olson have to get together and
yes,
Wonder triplets activate.
Oh yeah,
like it really is. It's like because how do you prop up like Michigan's recruiting class is bad for what they're supposed to be, and then they just signed 5 automatic starters right away and the portal. It's like, how do you properly evaluate what they've done?
Darius Henderson, I'm so excited to see him playing at Michigan. I did a story on him his freshman year at Arizona State. He was like 17 years old playing his Pac-12 defensive ends, and he was awesome. And he's a joy to talk to. Like I'm so excited for Austin Meek to get to talk to Ladarius. Like
because it's disingenuous though to criticize Michigan's class because that's not the entire picture of what they're bringing in next year. So that's going to be a very difficult thing to do. So like the way I'm going to approach it, and I don't know about you, Grace, on Wednesday, is I'm going to try my best to focus specifically on the high school players they're bringing in, with always leaving the caveat that, hey, you can fill these holes in the portal. It's like, because even top 5 classes have holes in them, depending on what the rosters look like and stuff, and people are going to have to fill them up. So it's like, it is a changing landscape, and I think we're all kind of trying to figure out what the most prudent way to do it is moving forward.
I agree with that, Ari.
So Grace,
I'm looking at the high school kids.
Oh, well, and you just did a story on because we can't talk enough, Dion and Matheson on our live chat pointed this out. You just had a story on the recruiting fallout at Colorado. The people who are kind of being cut loose because they don't necessarily fit what Dion wants. And I was reading the story, and I hate to be mean. I don't want to be mean. They fired their coach in like week 4. Did none of these players' parents or high school coaches tell them, they may decide to go in a different direction? They were the worst team in the Power 5, and they may not think that you're good enough if they want to be better than that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the really unique part about this situation is that even if a parent or a high school coach did tell a kid that, the athletic director told them, no, you're good. We had at least 2 kids saying that we were told by the administration our scholarships wouldn't be pulled. So that's what I think was the unique part about that, is that I think athletic directors usually
Rick George didn't tell the truth.
I think what happened with Rick George
about the truth.
Realized that if he was going to take Colorado to the next level, if they had to stop doing things the quote unquote right way, and he's like, you know what? We're doing things the wrong way. You know what? I'm happy about that. I think the right way should just go out the window in college football. There is no right way. You want to do it the right way, go to Harvard, okay?
Guess who's getting fired if he hired a coach who was like, yep, we'll just take these guys. We'll
just take all these other guys. Yeah.
Rick George is the next guy fired in that case.
Yeah. Probably before the coach that is okay with it gets fired.
Yeah. No, and that is it is bad. I mean, I don't understand why anyone believes these people at any point anymore. And I remember going through it. Now, this was a different time because the internet didn't really exist yet. And so it was my mom basically reading as many books and magazine articles as she could on how this stuff worked. It's not like that now. This information is pretty readily available. And you can see how schools and coaches okey doke these kids routinely. And like there was one the other day. I was doing a radio show on the Pac-12 channel on Sirius XM, and Arizona got a commit from a guy who'd been committed to Alabama. And some of the people are acting like, oh my God, they flipped a guy from Alabama. Well, he's an offensive lineman, and Caden Proctor's probably flipping from Iowa to Alabama.
Which has already happened.
It happened.
Right. By the way.
Oh, it happened. Okay. So at the time it hadn't happened yet.
I'm pretty happy that it happened though, because that's one less thing we have to worry about tomorrow, Grace.
That's true.
I feel like there's only like 10 top 100 players left, and half of them aren't even committing tomorrow. So it's going to be, I think, a manageable day, I'm hoping.
Grace, do you feel like you're jaded enough covering recruiting?
Jaded enough. I mean, I feel like now that I cover it, I've seen a whole new side to it. And kind of like what you were saying is that it's unfortunate, but you can't always believe people.
Anything anyone says ever.
I think it's sad, honestly. I don't know. It bums me out for the kids when I feel like they're getting told things that don't come to fruition. But then again, I think part of understanding the process and going through it is understanding this happens and you have to be prepared.
Yeah, there's too much money at stake for people to be nice, I think.
That's fair.
Exactly.
That's a good way of putting it, Ari.
One of the private QB trainers told me the story of two guys that he trains. And obviously all like quarterbacks all talk. You know this from covering it, you guys. But they were both being looked at by the same school. And one had been offered, and then the school called to offer the other one. And so like the player's talking to the coach on his phone and FaceTimes the other quarterback on another device and has the coach on speaker so that but the coach doesn't know that both players are listening. And the player's like, so have you offered any other quarterbacks? The coach's like, no, absolutely not.
Dang. Dirty.
Did the other guy talk?
No.
I would have been like,
did he pop in?
Yeah.
Hey, that's what you told me last week.
I mean, that kind of happened to J.J. McCarthy in Ohio State. I don't know. I mean, I went to J.J. McCarthy's high school. It's been 4 years now, 3 years ago. And he went to Ohio State and, he wanted to go there, I think. And they kind of said, hey, we're not offering guys right now. We're trying to get the film. And he accepted it. And then like a day later, they offered somebody else. He's like, screw you. I'm going to Michigan. And here we are.
How'd that work out?
It worked out pretty well for Michigan.
It worked out pretty well for JJ. That's right.
Yeah. I just, the thing that I think that, it's like not honest or dishonesty, the way that I would put the world of recruiting is a big jungle of verbal semantics.
Yeah.
Like everything is just like word salads, and commitment doesn't mean what it's supposed to mean. Does offering mean what it's supposed to mean?
None of it
Grace
means
and I are
anything.
working on a story for next year about that. Like it's all bullshit. Like
the only thing that means anything is the paper that comes across tomorrow, but that actually still doesn't guarantee you anything. Like when Les Miles was at LSU, they got in a numbers crunch and a couple of guys they signed, they're like, too bad we don't have scholarships for you. Whoops. Our bad.
Yeah. And it's just like the truth is that, with how much money's at stake and the fact that these guys are taking scholarships a lot of times to big time programs, I kind of just like view it as a cold-blooded person too, a little bit of just like, if you're really good enough and your play has merit, then you will find a way. And if you're not that good, then you're probably not going to rise to the top, and it's all going to weed itself out eventually. So, if it's my son, I feel like it would be harder to deal with because, it's your family and you don't want people to be hurt by it. But I also understand too that the world's not a crazy place. If Grace and I sucked at our jobs, they'd find somebody who were better and they would pay that person to do our jobs. Just kind of the way the world works. And, there's nice ways to do it. There's the Vanderbilt way, which Mitch Light will always say on Stars Matter, the right way to do it. And there are certain coaches who are more respectful or more cognizant of other people's feelings and how to handle certain things. And there's other coaches that are paid $8 or $9 million a year to do a job, and they're going to get it done no matter how they do it, whether it's within the rules or outside of the rules. And like that's kind of like in this new world of NIL, which I'm sure we're going to get to on the show, which is kind of like, no more excuses. No more. Well, this would have happened if this other team was. It's just like find a way to get it done. You're getting paid $9 million a year, and if you don't get it done, then you stink, and you're going to get fired. And no matter what you say or how you want to come out into a press conference, it's not 2017 anymore. Just got to figure it out. Get the boosters on a bus. Like you maybe got to do some karaoke or something. Let's get the money flying out of there. Let's
my Lord,
a fundraiser. Let's get the.
I want to be on the booster booze cruise.
Yeah,
where you fill the hat for NIL. Can we? Whatever school wants to invite me on this trip. I don't care.
Do like a ticket raffle, and if you want to take
booster booze cruise,
I'm going to protect the innocent. I won't even name the school. But I want to be on your booster booze cruise where you're passing the
field passes just went from free to $100,000 a game.
Let's make this happen, guys. This is our next Andy Staples Show and Friends field trip.
How many people make livings doing wedding planning? Why can't I do booster booze cruise planning?
Listen,
you'd be good at it, Ari.
I think
and that is actually
I'm old enough to party. I'll tell you that much.
That is actually one of the more pure NIL deals, by the way. The experience with the athlete, whether you get to play play around a golf with them or you get to hang out with them for an afternoon, like that's one of the more pure athlete NIL interactions. So like that is a perfectly legitimate transaction. So booze cruise with the athletes. I mean, I know what this sounds like, but it's within the rules.
I'm having an internal debate right now about whether I should say something.
I know what you're going to say. I know exactly what it sounds like. I don't think you know what
you're going to say. What do you think I'm going to say?
That it sounds a little like an escort service.
No.
Sorry, I don't know.
It sounds better than I guess I don't know what you're into, Andy, but that wasn't what I was thinking.
Okay.
I was thinking, and I don't know how to say it without offending certain people, because there will be people on the show that are like, "You're an asshole for saying
everyone."
This, why would
never
you even?
I was going to say, Ari, this has never stopped you.
I don't understand the psychology of even wanting to meet them. Like I understand, I understand like it's your favorite team and it would be cool to shake the quarterback's hand, but like the experiences of like pay a certain amount of money to eat dinner with somebody that doesn't want to eat dinner with you just kind of gives me the willies a little bit. It's just like, you're a 48-year-old man and you work at a trucking company and you have a fleet of 19 vans and you make $100 million a year. And like your wish at the end of the day with all that cash is to go eat dinner with Bryce Young.
I disagree, Ari, and I'll tell you why. When we were in Las Vegas, we met lots of fans of the show, and it was awesome meeting them and hanging out with them.
I know, but we wanted to meet them.
Well, maybe these athletes want to meet these people.
Yeah,
because it's financially beneficial to them.
Yeah, I guess so.
Me, I'm amazed.
The dude Vaughn that we met?
Listen to us.
I'd hang out with that guy. I'd go hang out with that guy tomorrow.
Absolutely.
If I were near him. That guy was the shit.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know if I'm saying it the right way. But
Jason, his fans don't want to meet them either. They just legalize cash apping to players to avoid the BS.
Yeah,
Jason,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I don't know how to break this to you. That's allowed. If you would like to cash app them, go ahead.
Yeah.
Nobody's stopping you.
Yeah. And it's cool. Like if there's like an event or something, but like I saw a specific leader of a collective like posting pictures on his Instagram of like him with the players. It's like, dude, you're like such a loser. Like I because it's just like they don't like you. And the only reason they do like you is because you're writing checks. You know what I mean? Do I sound like an asshole?
No, I think I do think there's a disconnect between people who
Landis. Look at Landis in the chat.
Oh my, say his name. Wow. But
I am the danger.
There definitely is a disconnect between, and it's two separate mindsets. There's people who are happy to watch and don't really need to have the interaction, don't care. There's a lot of people who really, they want to meet them. They want to be close to them. They want to see them in person. Like it matters to them. It's just, it's a personality thing.
Yeah. I mean, if I were a booster, I'd be more interested in meeting the coaches than the players, I think.
I'd meet the Star Court. I'd go on a booze cruise with Trevor Lawrence. That sounds like fun.
You went on a booze cruise with Trevor Lawrence's lookalike.
That's true. For those who don't know,
student who's a girl.
Grace did an incredible story when she was covering Clemson on the young lady. She was in Georgia, right?
Yeah, I had dinner with her last week.
What?
Yeah.
Like Trevor Lawrence?
She looks just like him. It's insane.
She does. Yeah, she does. She's
were people
Alabama
coming up
now.
to her being like, the Cowboys game was awesome. Great work.
She said that Alabama students and sometimes Alabama football players will come up to her and be like, "Are you the Trevor Lawrence girl?" Like, yeah, she's a sophomore now at Alabama.
So she's a celebrity at Alabama.
She is, yes.
She needs her own NIL deals.
We got to get her on the pod. Yes, let's get her on.
Could you imagine? Like, there should be like a Fritos commercial or something where there's like a duo dip or something, and they just use her instead of Trevor. Save 85% or 99% of how much it would cost to get Trevor, and just say Trevor Lawrence lookalike. Like, wouldn't that be just as effective as actually having Trevor?
Absolutely. And then the next commercial, you bring actual Trevor on with her.
That sounds like a Super Bowl commercial. Yeah,
I'm in. All right, guys. So last year, Texas A&M was the story of National Signing Day. They were the #1 class, and obviously they had some guys that didn't sign until February, so that class really wasn't complete. It does feel like this is a little bit more correction. Alabama and Georgia back on top. But there are some schools that are in that middle range, middle of the top 10 range that we haven't seen in there in a while. Miami, Notre Dame, Texas is in there. Who do you think we're talking about the most tomorrow night?
Probably Alabama, because they're going to get 2 more 5-star prospects tomorrow, and they're going to run away with the recruiting crown again.
I guess they didn't read all those columns about the dynasty being over. Maybe it's not over yet.
I have to admit that I thought the dynasty was over once a few years ago, and then I'm never doing that to myself again.
No, don't do that.
But like, it is interesting to me because when you look at the at how it's going to wind up, I think that it's still going to be the same collection of 4 or 5 teams at the top. Now you have Miami and Texas and some of these other teams that are kind of emerging again back into it, but I think that the math is going to bear out where the collection of talent isn't quite as condensed at the top as it was a year ago. I think 51 or 52 of the top 100 players last year went to 5 different schools in the top 100, and then the previous year was like 64 or 5. So I think this year you're seeing a lot more of that talent spreading out.
Wait a second, Ari.
It's the expansion of the playoff. No, it's cash.
It's cash. But the Chicken Littles told me that the schools that got all the best players would get more of the best players if you allowed them to pay. So you're saying that the talent is actually spreading out because you're allowed them to pay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if
all the economists said would happen.
We'll see how it pans out. And as we're doing this right now, 247's rankings are down, so that's going to be super helpful for our podcast tonight. But
they are.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the team rankings to look at some of the numbers here.
I have them.
I added them up when I did some thoughts about a month ago, and it seemed to be less condensed at the top. Like, I think Alabama has more than 10 top 100 players, but I think there were 4 or 5 teams last year that only had 10 or more, and I think Alabama's the only one at the moment. So, what's the word? It's not as condensed. It's not as
right. It's not
as crowded at the top.
12 and for Bama.
We're flattening the curve.
Yeah, Bama has 12 top 100 right now,
Thanks,
but it's about to be. It'll be 14 tomorrow.
Yeah, they're going to finish, I believe, with 5 or maybe even 6 top 100 or 5-star prospects tomorrow, which is a normal year for Alabama. But it doesn't seem like anybody else is going to come close to that. I think Texas has 4, but you don't have the Ohio State and Georgia mega classes that you've seen the last few years. And I think if the recruiting rankings that we're getting this year were to happen 4 years in a row, that by the time we really get into stride in the college football playoffs expansion, you might have 7 or 8 teams that have a shot to win it instead of 4 or 5, which, I don't know if you can count on that because once the NIL, we don't know how it's going to be.
That sounds kind of fun if that's what
happens. Honestly, that is and has been the main hope of most college football fans, right? Like the hope for parity and
more hope at the top, more a wider breadth of teams that actually have a chance to win the national title. And that's the thing. Like, if Texas and Notre Dame land enough talent to legitimately be able to compete for the national title, and one class doesn't do that, 3 classes in a row does that.
Mm-hmm.
But
3 or 4, like A&M signed 18 top 100 players last year. Like, think about how I can't even wrap my brain around that. It's been a year and I still can't get it out of my head.
I remember because I had to do all the counting. Like, when I was writing all the stories about Dan Mullen at Florida, I kept having to count how many top 100 recruits he had signed versus how many Georgia and Alabama had signed. And then A&M does that. And I'm like, that was more in one class than he did the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, I think Texas has a top 5 class right now. This is all off memory. I don't know how you opened it, Grace, but I believe
they were they were number 4 when I looked at it earlier today.
And I think they only have 5 or 6 top 100 players, which is a third of what A&M signed in 1 year last year.
You want me to tell you? I pulled it up. Is it still crash for you?
We'll do a game show to see how accurate I've been.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why do they have 7? 7, but they've got I don't know.
There's 2 people that are number 41. Yeah,
yes,
I don't know why.
What is that?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Maybe that's why it's down. Like the algorithm is, or not the algorithm, but that program just can't handle 2 people being ranked number 41.
Maybe
why are they both 41?
Maybe they're twins. I don't know.
That's a random.
There is
Brockermeyer twins are not here. By the way, one Brockermeyer twin headed to TCU.
So am I doing that right?
I think you are. Yes.
I want my new shtick to be like what Lee Corso did with it, but I want to do the hand signals.
Just the hand signals?
Because I have extraordinarily small hands for a man.
Give me your Territorial Cup rival Forks Up.
It's this one.
Uh-huh.
This is the Wildcat one.
Uh-huh. TCU. USC. Florida State.
No idea.
Tomahawk chop.
Oh, well, that's not a hand motion. That doesn't count.
It's close enough.
You know which one I do know. Motion? You know which. Yeah, you forgot about that one.
Oh, yeah. There you go. There you
forgot about this one, too.
And horns down. There we go. I like that. As shticks go, that's pretty good.
Yeah. I've got a few shticks.
You do. Yeah, you certainly do. You certainly do. All right. We got to take a little break. When we come back, the big topic of Tuesday was tampering. And you know, this is a recruiting topic as well. We're going to talk about tampering.
Fired up, Andy?
I'm going to explain why coaches don't actually care about tampering as much as they want you to think when we come back. Sling TV has something for everyone. All your favorite shows on your favorite channels, all right at your fingertips. What you watch is up to you. It really just depends on what kind of mood you're in. So if you're looking for sports, Sling's got you covered with pro and college football and basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, golf, racing, and so much more. Sling also has reality TV, so you can keep up with the latest gossip with today's hottest shows on channels like TLC, Bravo, MTV, and more. And don't forget about news. Get up to date with today's most trusted sources like MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News. Feeling adventurous? Explore thousands of movies and shows on demand. So what kind of mood are you in? No matter your answer, Sling has what you need. Getting Sling is easy. Sign up and start watching in just 5 minutes. You can stream on any device, and you can record up to 50 hours with your included DVR space. And the best part, you can pause or customize your subscription at any time. So check out sling.com for special offers. Sling, the TV you love for a price you'll love. Try it today. I have 10,000 pictures of my kids on my phone, but no idea how I'm going to compile all of them into an actual story for them. Artifact completely solves this problem. At the end of each year, they create a narrated video yearbook about each of my kids. Artifact sets me up with a professional interviewer to talk about my children throughout the year. I add photos wherever I want, and the whizzes of Artifact edit it all together into a video yearbook. It's easy, fun, and affordable. The grandparents absolutely love it. You know what? One day, this is going to be an amazing gift for the kids themselves. You might remember that Artifact is a longtime sponsor of this show, and they still do life stories of older family members. But now they have a product for parents like me, watching my kids grow up way too fast and wanting to hold on to those memories while they're fresh. You can sign up to try it for yourself for less than $9 a month when you use my code STAPLES at checkout. So go to heyartifact.com/kids and enter the code STAPLES to get started. That's heyartifact.com/kids and enter the code STAPLES. All right, we're back. Let's talk tampering.
Hey, Andy, before you go into your tampering, I had a stroke of conscience like while you were gone.
Go for it.
I felt bad because we shouted out Vaughn, but Jarrell, the other guy we met, was also
Jarrell,
cool.
Awesome. Absolutely.
So I wanted to say his name too. I didn't want him to listen to the show and be like, they didn't like me? Because that's not true. He was awesome.
The Cherry Jordan 11s. I mean,
come
on.
Yeah. He had them before the release too. Shout out to you too, man. I didn't forget about you.
Exactly.
Send me some winners because I'm getting crushed tonight. NHL, no bueno.
You're betting NHL.
You got to go back to women's basketball, Ari.
Yeah, I don't know because I didn't want to wait all night for the bowl game to start, and I'm losing that too. But okay, go ahead.
Well, there were 2 bowl games. All right, we're going to talk tampering. So Monday night, this tweet comes out from Jeff Traylor, the UTSA coach. Dear NCAA football, he tags NCAA football. How does UTSA football report Power 5 schools who are trying to poach our young talent? How much evidence do we really need to make this not be a part of our game? Okay. Here's the thing. You don't really need to tweet at the NCAA Twitter account if you're the head coach of a football team. You can talk to your compliance director. You can talk to your AD. You can talk to your conference office. You can call the compliance person in the conference office of the school you're mad at.
You could also call Andy Staples.
You could call the NCAA. You have the numbers. You could do that. Instead, just send out a tweet. which leads me to believe that you're not that serious about it. And now we get Mack Brown. Mack Brown had a press conference to preview the Holiday Bowl against Oregon. And he was talking about Drake May. And he was talking about hiring a new offensive coordinator and how Drake May got some input, not necessarily like hiring the guy, but got to talk to folks. And Mack and Drake talked about the different candidates and their merits. And this is part of the reason why.
And then the other thing in the hiring process is Drake got offered a lot of money to go to different schools, and it's tampering. It's 100% tampering, but he got offered the money, and he decided to stay. So for the first time in my career, I had him talk to a couple of the candidates I was talking to, because it was important for me, not that he hire, but that I wanted his opinion before they got here, because he decided to stay, and he could have very well left, and most people would have left, and he believes in this place. He believes in this university, and it's his school, and that's why he stayed, or he would have gone if it had just been about the money. So I promised him I would get him a great teacher, and would help him with footwork, and would help him with his throwing motion. And Chip is a great teacher of quarterbacks.
Chip is Chip Lindsey, their new offensive coordinator. So good press corps there at North Carolina, because as soon as Mack opened the floor to questions, the logical follow-up was asked.
Coach, who were some of the schools that offered Drake May money?
I can't say that, and don't ask Drake. He's a young guy, and it's uncomfortable for him. You know who they are. Just look at all the ones that are getting the top recruits. They're the ones paying all the top money. So just you can figure that out. Take 2 of those 10, and you're right. You got it. It could, and probably more than the 2 that I know of.
A quick follow-up, though. Isn't the best way to kind of expose what's going on and eliminate what's going on, putting pressure on them by you giving us that information so we can share that and kind of expose what's going on?
It's a great question. The problem is it's all done through agents, and they would absolutely say it was a lie.
So there's no paper trail?
There's no paper trail. There's no way to prove it. It's all agent to agent.
So I'm going to throw it out there, but you can't possibly get any proof, and I'm not going to tell you any schools, and don't ask Drake. It's almost as if Mack was trying to use this as a recruiting tool for North Carolina. Look at all the money Drake could have taken, and yet he chose to stay here because we're awesome.
Grace, you went to North Carolina, right?
I did.
How much money would it take for me to get you to go to Arizona State? If I offered you $5 million, would you go?
Yeah, I'd go.
In the middle of your career, where would you go? Like, what about New Mexico State? Would you go there?
For $5 million?
Yeah.
Sure.
Would you drop out of college?
I mean,
$5 million pays a lot of tuition elsewhere.
Why are you thinking about it?
Well, yes. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about my whole life. Like, can I live off of $5 million for the rest of my life?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
And you can probably go back to college.
And I mean this in the most sincere way possible. I would do
here comes some Arizona slander.
Reprehensible things for $5 million. You know how many death chips I would consume? If somebody offered my wife $5 million to abandon our family, I'd be like, that's fine. You should do it.
You wouldn't get to reap the benefits if she's gone.
That's so much money. Like, I know Drake probably is getting stuff at North Carolina. I'm not blind to that. I know.
I also don't think it was actually $5 million.
And it wasn't $5 million. But yeah. We had this discussion.
Pat Narduzzi thinks it's $5 million.
That's why he said it was $5 million on a radio
Pat Narduzzi
show.
thinks it was $5 million
and if it actually was $5 million, don't you think he would have gone?
Wait, didn't Narduzzi say it was other ACC schools? Because they're not at the top of the recruiting.
Well, that's not who Mack is. That's not who Mack's
not
accusing.
At the top of the recruiting.
Because I know which schools Mack is accusing. He's accusing Alabama and Ohio State, but he won't say it.
But then Ohio State's in a crisis right now because their entire fan base and their collective is complaining about how they're not paying enough money to keep players in the fold.
So here's the thing. Guys, pop quiz. Who runs the NCAA? Who makes the rules?
I don't think there are rules.
No one.
Well, there are. There's a 400-page
book.
The
schools. The schools and their president.
Schools, that's correct. All right. So the schools make the rules. So if the coaches who work for the schools are that concerned about this, would they not make stricter rules regarding tampering, like with some draconian penalties? Like if you're caught tampering with a player who is not in transfer portal, you get a 10-year show cause. Just like that. You could pass that rule tomorrow. Why have they never passed it? It's almost like they don't actually care. And they want a built-in excuse when things go wrong.
Also, people who accuse people, I'm just trying to think of like how to say this right.
And then Max using it, Max spin zoning it to make it a recruiting pitch, which I think is kind of awesome.
Well, the thing that's so interesting though is that like, and this is like not a great analogy, but it's the only one I have right now. Like they're all in the mob, and somebody in the mob getting mad at somebody for being the enforcer that does violence to somebody. Like you're still kind of a part of it. It is a fraternity. There isn't a don't ask, don't tell policy.
An omerita, like in the actual mob.
You're not supposed to rat. You're not supposed to rat. Basically, if you watch the first 10 minutes of Goodfellas, you have the handbook of how to be a good coach to your fellow comrades, right? Like that's what it is. You don't want to end up in the trunk.
I love that Joe Pesci's the model for everything.
Yeah. So that's one thing, and I understand. Like Mac doesn't want to get up into a press conference and get involved in a.
Max, the guy who can, like, listen.
Yeah,
I'm the one who wrote the story debunking the rumors that he was retiring last year. I talked to Mac. I was like, people are saying you're going to retire. He's like, yeah, I've heard that too. Let's clear the air. But I'm not going out on a particularly long limb when I say that I don't think Mac is going to be coaching for 15 more years. Like, if he wants to blowtorch somebody, he's the one guy who can.
And so what's the recruiting pitch then for North Carolina now? That we are so good that we're worth more?
Yes.
We're worth more.
We are so great that players will turn down gobs of money to play at schools that are much more successful than us at football. Like, that's the pitch. And it's a great pitch because guess who did stay? Listen, I believe entirely that Drake May got offered money to go to other schools.
Sure.
I do too. Oh, yeah.
I don't believe it's $5 million, but I do believe he got offered money to go to other schools. I love how Ari turns his camera off and coughs.
Is that what I did? I meant to hit the mute button.
But I do, like, I believe that with all my heart. Yes, I believe Drake May got offered money to go to other schools.
Oh,
but
for sure. Yeah. No,
Drake May also was committed to Alabama and flipped to North Carolina originally. So
I was going to say it's a hell of a recruiting pitch for a school that doesn't have a commitment from a single top 200 player in this year's cycle.
Right.
And it's also, let me ask, let's play a game.
Okay. I love it when Ari says, let's play a game, Grace.
How many schools in the FBS could Drake May play for the next 2 years and still be a first-round draft pick? Is it all of them?
Yes.
I think USC would be happy with Caleb. Everybody else would trade their quarterback for Drake May immediately.
I'm saying, like, not even just being traded for. Like, if I put him on Eastern Michigan for the next 2 years, is he a first-round draft pick?
Yes.
He doesn't need Max help.
Nope. He's
like,
this isn't
like, oh, we hired a really good offensive coordinator who's good with footwork, and he's like, you know what? Not going to take the $5 million. That's not what's happening here. And like the whole thing with this buyout, this tampering thing and this NIL thing is that there is just a insane amount of numbers and rumors and figures that people who, go on radio shows, whether they be coaches or agents or fans, it doesn't matter. And like 85% of it is just not true.
Right. And here's the thing. It behooves the agents and the middlemen and everybody and the players too to artificially inflate this market, just as it behooves the coaches for their agents to artificially inflate. Like Ray Tanner, the athletic director at South Carolina, really believed Will Muschamp was going to get the Auburn job if they fired Gus Malzahn, which they didn't end up doing. And that's how Will Muschamp got a giant extension that South Carolina then had to pay out when they fired him. Like, these guys are bad at this.
If you paid JJ McCarthy
bad at this
$5 million to go play at Ohio State next year, do you think he would do it? Like actually gave him $5 million?
I'd do it. I don't know if he would.
Do you think that Ty Simpson would go play at Auburn for $5 million?
Well, if Ty Simpson's not going to win the Alabama starting job, which we have no idea one way or the other.
I'm just trying to come up with different quarterbacks.
I think I'd take it right now.
Yeah.
I think, like if you
those are different because Ty hasn't played yet, like JJ did.
Yeah,
I would like to do anything if I were a player for $5 million.
We know that, Ari. This Grace. I don't think you heard the last show. Ari was trying to explain to me and David Ubben that Marcus Freeman was somehow at fault if he talked a player out of taking less upfront NIL money to go to Notre Dame instead of Marcus Freeman
was at fault.
doing
I just
his
wondered
job.
if there's like a soul searching involved.
No.
Oh, hey, teenager, I'm a millionaire. You have no money. Why don't you not take the $2 million to play for me?
But once David and I asked Ari why he didn't talk his wife out of the many better options she probably had, the argument it just kind of fell flat. So,
do you know who my father is?
I do. I've met your dad. He's the greatest guy in the world.
He's just a random guy. I wanted to sound like a person who had a trust fund. I don't know, man. I guess the only response to that is I'm as big of a scumbag as anybody who tries to take somebody out of their $2 million.
Our friend Catherine, hopefully drinking out of the Athletic coffee mug that she got for her appearance on the show. Guess what, Ari? If Ohio State offered JJ McCarthy $5 million, Michigan would do quite a bit to try and match. Perhaps my favorite, because every fan base has its own lexicon on their message boards and on their fan sites. My favorite phrase is Michigan's money cannon, because Michigan fans jokingly refer to the money cannon anytime they need anything. They're like, "Pull out the money cannon." And I'm just imagining
two years ago, the number one discussion that we had with Nick Baumgardner, when you and I covered the Ohio State-Michigan game in Ann Arbor in 2019, was about how the upper echelon administrators of the school didn't value football the way other powerhouses do, and they have more money than God, and that nobody wants to employ that money because they have a certain level of ethics and morality to uphold, and now they've got a money cannon. So, okay, fine, match it. $5 million.
Well, no, they always joked about the money cannon because the money's always been there. They've just
they just don't want to use it. Right?
They felt above this.
So, I mean, it's just like I think that it's just like Catherine is right. There would
I'm just imagining JJ McCarthy like the guy at the carnival where the cannon would shoot him in the stomach with a cannonball, except they're shooting $5 million in cash.
If I were JJ McCarthy, I would find a way to text Ryan Day and say, "Hey, on a non-work phone, some of those from the mobile shops where you got a flip phone that can text with no traceable numbers. You know the ones that Saul Goodman sells out of a tent in Albuquerque?
Yeah, absolutely.
I get one of those things, and I would text him and say, "Hey, dude, I'm not coming there. I love you. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to offer me $5 million. You're going to get that money together. You're going to talk to the boosters. This is what's going to happen. You're going to offer it to me. And then I'm going to get the $5.1 million from Michigan. I'm going to take that money and I'll cut you a check for $500,000 for your troubles."
Yeah. Eyeless Gray still waiting for the inevitable Liberty University money cannon. That is the school that probably would institute a money cannon first. Like a cash booth, like at the school fair where they have like the booth full of dollar bills and the wind tunnel.
Didn't the founder of that university's son buy a $4 million piece of real estate in Miami for a pool boy?
I mean, if you would like to watch the documentary on Hulu, it's there.
Like, think about how far that money could go towards NIL.
It was founded by a televangelist. You know the old televangelist story, right? Like the televangelist, he says, you need to send as much money as you can to me. We're going to make sure we do God's work. And you say, "Well, sir, but how do I know that God's going to get the money?" He said, "Okay, I'll make you a deal." He said, "I'm going to take all the money that you've given me, and I'm going to draw a big circle on the ground. I'm going to throw all the money in the air, and whatever God wants, he keeps." So that's
Catherine's right. I've been kind of on one tonight. I'm going to settle down.
No, I think
15 minutes.
We're a little bit loopy because my
baby vomited all over the floor right before this podcast started.
Well, at least it wasn't all over your face. That happens too.
Yeah.
See what you have to look forward to, Grace. Parenthood's amazing.
Looks like so much fun.
so we're a little bit loopy because we're less than 10 hours away from the onslaught of signings, and I love National Signing Day. Always have. I realize it's somewhat truncated because you do have the people signing in February, and now we're talking about transfers and all this stuff. But like when somebody's mom steals the facts and goes running, that's the
Grace
greatest.
did that story too. If you haven't noticed, all the best recruiting stories of the year were done by Grace.
Exactly.
No.
She's taking my job from me.
No,
That is that was a really good story too.
What's the craziest thing that you guys would do as parents if your kid was a 5-star on signing day?
I would go get $5 million and send him to a community college in Tucson.
I would do what I saw CJ Spiller's mom do when he announced he was going to Clemson. I'd be like, what? Because she didn't know.
And she didn't know either.
Right. And I'd probably know. I'd just be like, what?
You'd act like you didn't.
Or like Jacob Copeland's mom like walked off like, when he announced he was going to Florida. I think she was wearing an Alabama
would
shirt.
like to think that I wouldn't be too involved. But like I feel like I would
you
be
just says the dad who's like, I'd take the $5 million and send him to
I would be one of those dads that's calling the shots and like, okay,
well, I would like to think I wouldn't be too involved, but legitimately I would try to shield my kid from a lot of this BS.
Yeah,
I'd try to explain to them like, and I'd tell the coaches, I mean, like, if we encountered Rick George's situation and Rick George told my kid your scholarship's going to be honored, I'd be like, Rick, I don't believe you because I cover this for a living.
Yeah.
So
if my kid was going through it, I would be like, son, I want to shield this from you. I love you very much. It's a dirty game. You're too immature and you haven't been through the world yet to see how it works in the business world. This isn't to steal your shine. This isn't to do anything to put you in a position where you feel like you don't have control. This is just to protect you and to protect your name so that you can focus on the things that are important. And then I would put them in the other room and be like, okay, so how much are we getting here, guys?
What's the biggest bag we can get? Ari, what you just said, though.
All right, guys, where's the money?
Has happened every year. Let's see, what is college football is like 100. College football is like 157 years old. That's happened for 156 years. That very scenario.
Here's my plan. You commit to my alma mater's rivals out and then switch on signing day. That's funny.
I love it. Guys, we got to take a break. When we come back, let's come up with our wackiest prediction for signing day. What do you want? What story do you want to be telling at the end? It can't just be.
Does it have to be realistic?
No. Because
okay. This will be good.
Listen, the kid who made up the commitment to Cal, you could never dream that up, but it happened.
True.
Okay. I mean, I was just trying to
Kevin
think,
Hart
like, last
from Fernley,
year,
Nevada. He's
Travis
a legend.
Hunter flipped from Florida State to Jackson State on this day.
Happened.
I'm very curious if on Wednesday.
I imagine you are making.
Whoa, dude, you have such nice biceps. I'm like hot and heavy now. Okay, go ahead, do it.
We're taking a break. We're going to talk about Peloton. We'll be back. I imagine you are making some New Year's resolutions right now as you listen to this podcast. I imagine some of those involve personal fitness. You want to lose some weight. You want to get in shape. We all do. Let me tell you about a few of my friends. Adrian Williams, Jess Sims, Marcel Dinkins, Andy Spear. I've never actually met any of these people. We did have Jess on the podcast, though, because she's on College Game Day. But these are people who push me through workouts regularly, who push me to my limits and past them because they understand how to motivate me. Where are they from? They're from Peloton. They're Peloton trainers. And after a while, they just start feeling like part of the family. If you're not already part of the Peloton community, now is the best time to start because you can get up to $200 off accessories like cycling shoes, heart rate monitors, and more when you buy a Peloton Bike, Bike Plus, or Tread, and up to $100 off accessories with the purchase of a Peloton guide to take your workout to the next level. So make this the first step toward achieving those fitness goals that you're going to set for your New Year's resolution that you wouldn't normally keep. But I'm telling you right now, if you join the Peloton community, you're going to have people holding you accountable. You're going to want to work out, and you're going to keep those resolutions. So get started now. All Access membership is separate. The offer ends December 25th. It cannot be combined with other offers. See additional terms at onepeloton.com. Welcome back. Before we get to our crazy signing day predictions, we do want to clean up a little news. Devin Leary, former North Carolina State quarterback, he's going to Kentucky.
Dude, how about Kentucky, dude? Grace?
Liam Cohen may be coming back.
I don't know, man. Devin Leary's a stud.
That's a good pickup.
Kentucky is a football school. Let's just put it that way.
Well, Will Levis is going to be a first-round pick. I know a lot of people don't believe he should be. He's going to be just because of traits and all that stuff. And if you're Devin Leary, you're looking at that going, okay, he played in this offense. And like I said, it's likely Liam Cohen heading back. So he gets to play in that offense again. And it's a big deal. Waiting to hear on Graham Mertz, waiting to hear on Grayson McCall. We have heard on Tulane quarterback Michael Pratt, though. You know where he's going to play next year? The suspense is killing you.
I didn't see that he announced. I'm on the edge of my seat. Where?
Tulane!
Oh, wait. I think I did see that.
He did it a few minutes ago. It wasn't long ago.
Okay, I did not see it.
Yeah, yeah, he did it while we were recording this.
I saw a crystal ball for DJ Uiagalelei.
What was that one too?
Did you see it, Andy?
Was it?
I see it. I see it in the chat.
I'm afraid to look this up because I think I know what it is, but I'm scared.
Now I can't find it. There's too much spam in the chat.
Is it Hawaii?
Hawaii.
I mean,
didn't see that.
You got to play somewhere. Come on,
dude. Now I have a reason to gamble at midnight.
If DJU's playing for the Rainbows, let's go.
That would be something, man.
That would be wild. Wait, but Ari, where do you think? Because now that obviously Dante Moore is at UCLA, like, what's the second most logical landing spot for DJU if it is not UCLA?
Dante Moore isn't what stopped DJU from going to UCLA. They got the Schlee kid from Kent State. And Correct. He's really good. So he's going to put up some numbers next year.
Fair.
I don't know. I mean, I thought it would be P5.
I did too. I thought it'd be P5 West. West
I
Coast.
I thought maybe he'd go play with his brother, but you know, his brother's
probably going to go to USC now.
Yeah. And that job's taken, very much so. And probably taken in the future after Caleb leaves. Yeah.
Seats taken.
Yeah. So man. All right. So that's it. So let's say if DJ did put up a graphic announcing he's going to Hawaii, that would be up there with the kind of stories I was talking about. Like, what's the craziest thing that could happen on National Signing Day? That's one. That would be it.
What are you like? What with that decision? If that's what were to happen, are you just like saying, "All right, guys, the jig's up. I'm just going to go enjoy myself in Hawaii for the next few years"? Or do you achieve your NFL dreams? I mean, Grace, you're more familiar with this than we are. So what's the deal here? I don't know what the sales pitch is.
I don't know. The Hawaii portion of it, I don't know that I have any thoughts or information on.
I mean, I even like
that
place
one.
like Syracuse or something. Like, you know, I don't know. Like,
I mean, I do think you need to change the scenery for sure, and I think getting closer to home would just give him a fresh start.
Is that closer to home?
No, that's true.
How far away is Hawaii from
Clemson?
California?
Is actually closer to home than Hawaii.
My geography is it?
I think LA is the halfway point between Hawaii and Clemson.
I'm gonna look this up. LA to
in the
Hawaii.
chat, DJU is a fan of Magnum PI. Maybe my all-time favorite show.
Oh,
I want to reboot with DJU as Magnum. I don't know who plays Higgins. I don't know who plays TC and Rick, but I need this to happen.
Grace and I are too young for this, Andy.
Oh, Hawaii is further by 200 miles.
Yeah, it's far.
I think I was pretty sure on that one. I didn't feel like I was pulling that out of my where.
Rough day for my geography. I don't know. Hawaii doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I have no idea.
I would imagine that DJ can get to a Power 5 school.
Yes.
If he's not at a Power 5 school, it is totally by choice. So
I would agree with that.
But
Ari's face. Ari, you don't look convinced.
I mean, it's nice.
So
nice
there's no way Alabama's getting unseated at number 1, right? They're going to get a couple more 5 stars. They're going to be number 1.
It looks like they're going to be number 1, but there is a path. Like, I mean, if those 2 5 stars go, then it's over. But Georgia's going to get Damon Wilson, the 5-star defensive end from Florida, and they are kind of on the heels a little bit. So it would kind of need to be Alabama's day is terrible, and Georgia has a great day. So I don't think that's going to happen. And Georgia's still in on a few top 100 defensive linemen like Jordan Hall out of Jacksonville and cornerback Daniel Harris out of Miami. So
long time. So last year it was Travis Hunter who was the longtime committed player who shocked the world. And I remember when that started leaking out early, and it was in the morning that it started leaking out that he might be going to Jackson State. And
yeah, if we're thinking of like shocking things that like long-term committed, like I don't know if it was shocking. Like, because when Travis Hunter did Jackson State last year, there were no stories a week before that he visited there or anything.
No.
So there was no like Caleb Downs.
The assumption was
Ohio
Florida.
State,
The assumption was Florida State is getting the number 1 recruit last year.
Right. So that I'm trying to think of like what would be the prospect that nothing about, have heard nothing about, that does something crazy. Like I wonder, is a 5-star player that is currently committed to another school right now going to commit to Colorado tomorrow?
Ooh. I bet somebody does.
Like if like somebody that we're not talking about at all, who wasn't on a visit there or whatever.
I bet somebody would do it sight unseen. If Dion was in on them already or was trying to get him to Jackson State and there was a relationship, somebody might do that.
I think recruits, I mean, not 5 stars, but recruits have already done that. We've heard that, Ari, where we've talked to kids who've never been to the state of Colorado before who are committed there now.
I'm trying to, so you said make up your funniest thing that could happen tomorrow?
Yeah.
My funniest thing happening tomorrow, in the craziest sense of the word, would be Arch Manning going to Colorado. Could you imagine?
My God.
Could you imagine the visual that would happen?
The internet would explode.
It's not just Arch Manning flipping, because people would love the Schadenfreude of Texas, but like the Schadenfreude of Texas mixed in with the hatred towards Dion's situation there.
Like if he did flip, which we don't think he's going to, and I don't think that's going to happen.
No, he just made that up.
It'd be to Georgia or something. Yeah, it wouldn't be to Colorado. But if he really flipped to Colorado,
that was just my funniest storyline I could come up with.
Can you imagine watching Twitter just scroll when that happened?
Yeah, I mean, remember how crazy Twitter was the 2 days after Arch had just committed? Imagine a flip.
Well, that's what it would be like. So the play that ended the Raiders-Patriots game the other night, something that wild, ending the Super Bowl. That's what Twitter would look like if Arch flipped to Colorado.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just such a funny slice of the sport that, I think that wasn't quite as mainstream 10 years ago as it is now.
Yeah.
But like my job tomorrow, I was going to go up to Denton to see Anthony Hill's announcement. And then he announced on Friday night when I was out with my wife. And I was just like, well, there goes that. Because nobody wants to go to an announcement ceremony where the guy's just signing at a place he's already committed to. So my duty is to stay at home and contribute to the blog and tweet a lot and do radio hits and do podcasts and do everything that I can to contextualize people. And then I think at the end of the night, I'll probably do like a 9,000 word thoughts piece for the following day, like I do every year. People tend to like it.
Nothing like an Ari Wasserman brain dump.
There are a lot of those in the recruiting realm, and people used to give me a lot of flack for them. But the last few have, people have been like, hey, we appreciate this. And it's like, thank you, because it takes a lot of work and it's hard.
This is just very interesting because the tapestry is different. 6 years ago, before the first early national signing day, there's the one day in February. The transfer portal stuff was not a thing. NIL was not a thing. The way it all weaves together now is so fascinating to me. And I do think the biggest story we'll wind up talking about is somebody we've already seen play in college.
Because he's a portal guy.
Well, and who signs from high school will affect who signs in the portal too.
Because
how many spots are left.
There's already been some pretty monumental shifts. Like Dante Moore flipping from Oregon to UCLA is very significant.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
Hayden Proctor flipping from Iowa to Alabama is significant. Yeah. So there have been some big ones already, but I am very on alert to see, and Andrew Pace wrote, How about Arch Manning to A&M and Peyton Manning being announced as the offensive coordinator on the same day? That would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
Well, they may be down to Peyton at this point in that search.
Yeah, what's going on there? Yeah, that's a podcast topic for Thursday.
You're not going to believe this, but people might not entirely believe that Jimbo Fisher is willing to give up play calling.
You know what I
forever.
think that the podcast should be about tomorrow night, and I think it will be, is analyzing the 5 or 6 first-year head coaches that went to big-time programs and seeing who did the best.
Well, and yes, and how aggressive were they? Like, I for instance, Hugh Freeze, I believe, has flipped 5 players from 5 different schools. Very different philosophy than his predecessor at Auburn. So, I want to see what he does and how does he reshape that roster, because that roster has to be rebuilt right now. And here's the other thing: starting Thursday, that's when all the assistant coach moves that we know are coming but have not been revealed to the players who are signing tomorrow. That's when all that happens. Like, I imagine we're going to have Scott Docterman on at some point in the next week, Ari, to talk about how Brian Ferentz isn't Iowa's offensive coordinator anymore. Like, that's probably right after that game, would be my guess. Which, by the way,
I would not bet my life on that, but sure.
It's gonna rain at the Music City Bowl.
Everybody's saying bet the under, and I feel like I just have to bet the over just because.
It's still above 30, though, isn't it? Like 31
it's not going below 30.
Okay, it's going to rain. Will Levis isn't playing. Chris Rodriguez isn't playing. Does Iowa have any quarterback?
It doesn't matter who's playing for Iowa.
Cade McNamara can't play. So
there's going to be a bunch of grab ass in that game.
I didn't even know that they're going to get close enough to anybody's ass to grab it.
I bet an under today, and it was over 5 minutes into the game, and there was a blocked extra point return for a touchdown, and I just shut it off. I was just like, I'm not getting there today.
How many times have you bet the over on Iowa?
I think I did it like 3 times this year, and I went 0-2 the first 2, and then I hit the last one, and then I stopped.
Rutgers,
I just had to conquer the demon at least one time.
Rutgers was the
It wasn't about
Iowa
money
over.
for me. It was about proving a point.
I
wanted to be right the one time they hit the over.
All right, I'm going to offer Ari $5 million in NIL money. We'll see if he shows up at the podcast tomorrow.
At your house.
I do not want you gardening at my house. You will ruin my yard.
I had to.
I will pay someone competent, sir.
I had to clean my garage out the other day, 2 weeks ago, and the internet thing is in my garage, and I hit it with the hose and knocked out the internet in our house for 2 days.
That's why Ari wasn't on the show.
And that's why I wasn't on
2
the
weeks
show.
ago.
And then I also put a hose on in the backyard, and I pulled the hose off, and the part of the hose that you screw on is stuck onto the thing now.
The hose
onto
bib.
the spigot. The hose bib. Sorry. Is stuck on. I cannot get it off, and I ripped skin off my hands trying to twist it off. Then I got a wrench.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you gonna say? Were you just gonna say? Do you not own a wrench? Is that what you were gonna say?
No, bice grip pliers. That would be the tool for that job.
Oh, okay. Because I tried a wrench and I was trying to squeeze. The little metal part that you turn to make the. You can't twist it hard enough to get it.
All right. I know what I need to get Ari now.
I need a vice grip pliers so I can
put
it around my jugular. Yeah.
All right. Everybody get some sleep. 7 a.m. Eastern time is when this begins in earnest. We will be with you tomorrow night. It will be a special edition of Stars Matter. Mitch Light, Ari Wasserman, some jackass named Andy. We'll talk to you then.